Hi, everyone. Good evening. So it's a little different in terms of setup for me today because I'm not at home. I'm actually in Zambales because I'll be leading a retreat tomorrow. Give me a thumbs up if you can hear me okay. You can also use your reactions as well. Cool. Okay. Right. Yeah. So it's a little difficult for me because my mat is over here and my laptop is like way over there. But let's see how we go. This is a little difficult. All right. Okay. So we're going to start in a bit. But before we begin, just a few reminders as well. So first of all, this is Calm the F Down. This isn't your regular yoga class. We will be doing a combination of meditation, pranayama, and asana. So the asana part is the movement part, which you are mostly familiar with. Pranayama is breath work. And for tonight, we're going to start off with a short meditation, about 5 minutes or so, and then followed by a short pranayama, just to start to allow the tension to leave the body. And then from there, we're going to move into the mindful movement bit, the asana, and that will still take up the bulk of the class at about 30 minutes, 35 or so. And then from there, we're going to wind down with a restorative pranayama practice. Again, short one, maybe about 5 minutes or so. And then ending with your savasana, your well-deserved rest. And that will be a couple of minutes again. And then from there, I will gently guide you back to awareness, gently wake you up. And then we're going to, of course, get to the most, hopefully not the most exciting part. I hope you guys are more excited about the yoga class, but another exciting part of the class, which is your prizes. So there's 3 prizes being given away, one sponsored by Simoy ng Haraya. So that's the Trono Poop Drop and 1 Reed diffuser with Umaga smell. And then 1 workout top from the Shape Shop. And then the last one is, of course, a 6-class pass with me. So you can take 6 classes with me. Okay. So all you need to do basically to be eligible for the prize is, aside from following all our brand sponsors, is to stay until the end of class. So this session, as I mentioned in your reminder email, it's a safe space. So it's up to you whether you want to keep your videos turned on or off. I will mostly be on my mat as well, guiding the session. Because today we're not really going to be very anal about our quote-unquote alignment, but rather I encourage you to listen to your body. So really tune in to the sensations that you're feeling as we go through our mindful movement practice, and to take any options or variations that feel good for you. So say, for example, if I invite you to reach your arms up, automatically, a lot of us will reach our arms overhead. But maybe for some of you, your shoulders are pretty tight. If this doesn't feel good for you, then you can explore other options. Maybe just having the arms out to the sides like a T, or maybe even placing it on your hips instead, or maybe at your chest, or maybe giving yourself a hug. So see what feels good for you at this moment. So yeah, take the different options, explore the different options that I provide, but then at the same time, if none of those work for you, feel free to be creative on your mat and explore other options that I may not have mentioned. So there's a little bit of that free flow play as well. So whatever I say is just a general guide, and then you also have the power to decide where to take your practice. So it's going to be a lot more mindful, embodied, and interoceptive. Okay. And maybe for some of you who are more used to the very directional kind of yoga classes may feel a little different. So I invite you to come into this practice with a very open mind. Okay. If there are any questions, feel free to also pop it in the chat. I'm going to go over there in a bit so I can see any questions that may come in. I just have to kind of stand here so that you can see my face. Otherwise, I'm going to be crouching down. What else? That's pretty much it. Hopefully you enjoy this practice. It's meant to, again, calm you the F down. If you have props, go ahead and have them handy. Although for today's session, it's not really necessary. It's not a yin yoga or restorative yoga practice. It's more of a gentle flow. We'll mostly be staying low to the ground. So mostly seated, kneeling, lying down, not a lot of standing. Yeah, that's pretty much it. And then we're going to get started in a couple of, in maybe like a minute. So I'm just allowing a little bit of time in case anyone has questions or comments before we begin. If you're already ready to go, then I invite you to already make your way onto your mat, and we're going to be seated. So find any comfortable seat on your mat, and that's how we're going to begin. If you have a wall right near you, you can even sit against the wall, use that as like a backrest, if that feels like a comfortable choice for you today. Feel free to also use your props here. Maybe some of you would like to lift the hips up slightly, placing a block or bolster or cushion or like a folded blanket underneath the hips. That's one option as well. So yeah, take your preferred seat. Okay, all right, so we're going to start. Before that, let me just turn on the music again. Share. Let me know. Oops. Computer audio. Right. Let me know if you can hear the music and if the music isn't overpowering. So that I can adjust the volume right before we begin. Okay, I'm seeing some thumbs up. Please, okay. All right. So let's begin. Just find your way into any comfortable seat if you haven't yet. And if you'd like for the next few seconds, you can even move around slightly so that you can really feel your sit bones press evenly onto the floor. Maybe the hands rest gently on top of your knees or wherever else feels good. Maybe some of you prefer to have a little bit of connection with yourself, placing your hands onto your chest and belly, or maybe both on the chest. If you want to close your eyes, go ahead. If you prefer to keep them open, that's also an option. And maybe just a few deep breaths here. Inhale through the nose and exhale through the nose. And for today, our meditation will be getting to know our bodies. We will take a quick scan of our body. But maybe first just becoming aware of your body. Noting where you are in relation to the space you're at. Noticing the weight of your body as it sits down on the ground. And then we'll start from the bottom and work our way up, part by part. So first, tuning into your toes. Your left toes, the right toes. And moving on to the rest of your feet. The bottom part of the sole, the inner arches, the outer edges, and the tops. Noticing any sensations that may be present in your head. Maybe this feeling of tightness, soreness, or maybe even temperature, warm, cold, that's what careful work your way up. And to your ankles, and all the way up to your shins. Checking in with those shins, noticing any sensations there. And from the shins, working your way up to your knee, your left knee, right knee. Again, tuning in, noticing without any judgment, whatever sensations you get. And then from the knees, working your way up to your thighs. And remember that when I say a certain part, you're noticing from all different angles. So say, for example, your thighs, you're taking note of the front, the sides, and the back. Taking note of any sensations there. Then from the thighs, going up to your hips. Again, taking note of what sensations are there. And know as well that if you don't feel anything, if you don't notice any sensations, it's also perfectly fine. Some parts may be a bit more feeling than the other for today. And then from your hips going up onto your belly area, noticing the front, the belly, lower belly, working your way through the sides onto your lower back, taking your time here. Notice if there are any sensations present. Then from there, going up to your middle back, then crossing the sides to the front, your mid-torso. And again, going further up onto your chest, all the way around to your upper back. And from there, working your way up even more, all the way to the shoulders. And from the shoulders, going down to your upper arms. Taking a moment here to notice any sensations there on the upper arms. And going down to your elbows. And from there to your forearms. From the forearms down to the wrists. And from the wrists down to the palms of the hands, the fingers, and the backs of the hands. And from there, working your way up all the way to the neck. front, the back, the sides. Neck moving up to the jawline, wrapping around to the base of the skull. Noticing sensations that may be there, tension. Then from there, working your way up the rest of the face, the cheeks, the mouth, the nose, the eyes, the eyebrows, and the space between them, the temples, the forehead. Noticing the ears, the back of the head, and all the way to the crown of the head. Here, or rather zooming out, and noticing your body as a whole. Noticing whatever sensations or emotions or thoughts that may be present at the moment. We'll just stay here in silence for another 2 rounds of breath. Then from here, if you have your eyes closed, slowly allowing the eyes to open. Then before we come into our pranayama practice, if you'd like to take a few small movements here, go ahead. Especially since you've been sitting for the last few minutes. Maybe releasing any tension that may have built up as you stay seated. And then when you're ready, slowly making your way into a standing position. We're going to do our pranayama practice here in the beginning in a standing position. So what we're going to do is called breath of joy. So I'm going to show it to you first, and then we're going to do a few rounds together. So when we're going to breathe in, we're going to inhale in 3 parts. First inhale, arms reaching forward and up to shoulder level. Second inhale, sweeping the arms out to the sides. Third inhale, however way you'd like, reaching it up overhead. So 1, 2, 3. And then from there, you're going to take 1 deep exhale, softening the knees and then sweeping the arms back. And letting the breath out through the mouth, opening it out wide, making a ha sound. So I'll do 1 round to show it. Right? So if you'd like, you can already start moving with me, or if you're still not quite sure, then maybe for the next 1 to 2 rounds, just watch and then start to join in. We're going to do first about 10 rounds, take a quick break, and then do another round of 10. Okay? So for those who are joining in, maybe feet about hip width apart. And then we're going to start. Last 3. Last round. And release that breath of joy and just breathe normally in and out through the nose for a few rounds. So notice whatever sensations you're feeling now after we did those 2 rounds. Maybe your heart is beating a little faster. You feel a little light in the body. Maybe you feel energized. Maybe you feel relaxed. Maybe you feel less stressed. Just notice and observe whatever it is. We'll take 2 more normal breaths before we start again 10 rounds. 10 rounds-ish. Sometimes I lose count. And then we're going to start setting up for a second round. So feet about hip-width apart. Stand tall. And then let's start. And by the way, go at your own pace. You don't have to move as fast or as slow as I am. So just do 10 rounds on your own at your own pace. And pretty much just a guide. Okay? And let's feel like I'm conducting. Last one. And just hand loose. Return to normal breathing. Again, notice how you feel. If you want to shake the body out a bit, go ahead, your choice. Or maybe just staying still and just really absorbing the sensations there. How do you feel now after you've done 2 rounds? Do you feel differently now versus at the end of the first round? And or versus before we started both rounds? So the breath of joy in the beginning can fire up your sympathetic nervous system. And that's why your heartbeat speeds and everything. But then after a while, because of the rhythmic movement, it starts to activate your parasympathetic nervous system. So again, as a reminder, sympathetic system is your fight or flight. Parasympathetic is your rest and digest. And that's what we're trying to activate through the whole session. Right. Okay, from there, we're going to make our way into our asana. And again, it's a gentle flow, so not as slow as last week's. If you were here last week, it's not a yin class. We will still be moving a little slowly compared to power yoga or vinyasa flow, but not as slow as yin. It's not going to be one pose for a few minutes. So I invite you to find your way to the top of the mat and make your way into your mountain pose. And this can be with your feet apart or your feet together. Big toes touching, heels slightly apart. Engage the core, belly in, tailbone pointing down to the mat. Keep the legs strong, shoulders down away from the ears, arms by the sides. And inhale, sweep the arms up. Exhale, soften the knees, hold all the way down. Inhale, come up halfway. Exhale, fold again. And this time, come into ragdoll. Soften the knees, hold on to opposite elbows. And you can gently sway side to side a couple of times here. And just notice how the legs feel, the backs of the legs, the glutes. And then slowly come back to stillness in the center, releasing the elbows. And then on your next inhale, come up halfway again, hands onto the mat, or maybe the shins or even the thighs. And then exhale, fold. Inhale, come all the way up, arms reach up. Exhale, hands to your heart center. And then down by your sides. And then hands on the hips. Step the right foot behind the left. ankle. So you're crossing your feet. And then I'm going to turn so you can face, I'm facing you head on. So right foot crosses behind the left. Inhale, reach your arms up. And then hold on to your left wrist with the right hand. And then slowly side bend over to the right. Keep the chest square to the front. And notice the sensation along the left side body. And slowly come back to center. Switch sides. Left hand holding onto the right wrist. Inhale, stretch up tall. Exhale, side bend to the left. And again, keep the chest square, maybe the right shoulder leaning back slightly. And slowly come back to center. Arms down by your sides or maybe hands on the hips. And cross the feet. Maybe give it a few shakes. And then we're going to switch sides. So this time, you're crossing your left foot behind the right. Inhale, sweep the arms up. Hold on to the right wrist with the left hand. Inhale, stretch up. Exhale, side bend to the left. And again, keep the chest square. Maybe lean that right shoulder back slightly. Noticing the sensation along the right side. Then slowly come back to center, switching hands, right hand holding onto the left wrist, and then side bend to the right. One more breath here. Then slowly coming back to center. Release your arms down, maybe hands on the hips, your choice, and cross the feet. Come back to your mountain pose. Feet hip width or feet together, your choice. And then inhale, arms reach up again. Exhale, soften the knees, fold all the way down. Inhale, halfway lift. Hands on the mat, shoulders and thighs. Exhale, bend the knees, plant the palms down, step the right foot back, and then lower the right foot down. Point the right toes back, so you're pressing the top of the right foot to the floor. On your next inhale, come up with the hands on your left knee. So if you need extra padding under the right knee, then maybe roll up your mat. Or if you have a towel or blanket or pillow there, you can use that for extra padding, your choice. From here, push your hands against the knee. And you're going to feel your belly lift away from the thigh and maybe starting to notice a deeper sensation on your right hip flexor and quad. The hips square to the front. And you can stay here or maybe start to place your hands on the hips or maybe even reach your arms up. Getting into your hips, your quads with your low lunge. One more breath here. And then on your next exhale, you're going to place your hands down, frame your left foot. Inhale, twist to the left, reach your left arm up, and gaze towards your left thumb. You can have the hand down onto the mat, or if you have a prop, you can also explore placing your hand onto your prop instead. So go ahead and explore what feels best for you. Lean the left shoulder back so the chest is facing the left side of your mat. And then exhale, left hand down, and then shift back into your half split. So your right hip will stack on top of the right knee. Straighten out the left leg. You may need to scoot the left foot forward a few inches. And then start to point the left toes up, actively flexing your left foot. Maybe adjusting the hands backwards so that hands are under the shoulders. And then you can bring the left hip back slightly. And as you do so, notice the sensation on your hamstring. The more actively you flex the left foot, the more you'll also feel it in your calf. We'll take one more breath here in your half split. And exhale, plant your left foot down. Wiggle the left foot out to the side. Coming into lizard, both hands down inside the left foot. Rounding the back. Feel the chest lean forward, reaching forward between the arms. Maybe you're gazing towards the front of your mat here. Push the ground away with your hands. Feel the hips melt down to the ground. You can stay here, or if you want to add a twist and a quad stretch. Inhale, circle the left arm up and back. And then lift up the right foot. Lean the left shoulder back even more if possible. And if you want to add a deeper stretch on the quad, gently pull the right foot closer to the hips. Another option here is if you have a towel or a strap, you can wrap the strap around the foot and then hold onto the strap instead. One more breath here. And gently release the right foot. Circle the left arm forward, back to your lizard. And from your lizard, you're going to start to wiggle the left foot all the way to the right side. And then lower the left knee down. So we're setting up for pigeon. Your left shin at first will be parallel to the front edge of your mat. For some of you, this may feel okay. For some others, maybe this feels too intense. And you can explore maybe drawing the left hip back, left foot back, closer towards your right hip instead. So your left shin is more in a diagonal line. And if you'd like, you can explore placing a block underneath the left hip. If you don't have a block, feel free to explore any other props you have at home. Like, for example, I'm going to use this book as my prop for today. And then make sure the right leg is stretched back. Right toes pointing to the back. And we're going to come into a more active pigeon first. So walk the hands back. Your hands are by the hips. Inhale, lengthen the spine, lift the chest up. Finding a little back bend here. And slowly start to bring the hands forward in front of you. Come down to your forearms. And you can stay here on your elbows, or you can also explore maybe stretching the arms forward, allowing the forehead to rest onto the mat. Or if it feels better, you can also rest your forehead onto a prop instead. So feel free to explore the use of props if that feels like something your body needs today. I will just spotlight my video. So there in your sleeping pigeon, taking a few deep breaths there. See if you can keep your breath relaxed, slow, deep. And we'll stay there for about 2 more breaths. And then from your pigeon, lift the head up. Slowly start to walk the hands back. So the hands here, just in front of your left shin. Tuck the right toes under, lift the right knee up. And then start to step the left foot back. And we're going to come into your first down dog actually for tonight. And if you'd like, you can move around your down dog for a bit here. Moving in whatever way feels good, pedaling the feet left and right, maybe shaking the head around side to side, up and down, doing whatever feels good. And then slowly coming to stillness in your down dog. And staying here for just a few more breaths. Checking in, making sure the feet are about hip width, toes pointing forward, heels, even if they're not touching the mat, having that energetic feeling of trying to lower down to the mat. Maybe the knees are slightly bent here, especially if your hamstrings are tight, or if your lower back is a little tight. Draw the belly in, lift the hips up towards the back corner where the ceiling and the wall meet. One last breath here. Push the ground away, press the chest back to your thighs. And then on your next inhale, look forward, and then it's the right foot stepping forward so that you can lower the left knee down, point your left toes back. Actively press the front of your left foot or the top of the left foot to the mat. Inhale, come up, hands onto the right knee. And then inhale again, push the knee with the hands. So you're feeling the belly lift away from the thigh. And maybe noticing a sensation here on the left quad and hip flexor. One more breath here. And then adding your preferred arm variation, maybe staying here, or hands on the hips, or at the chest, or reaching overhead, or out to the sides, or maybe just holding your hands onto the chest, or maybe even a hug. One more breath in your low lunge. And then exhale, hands down to the floor, frame the right foot. Inhale, twist to the right, reach your right arm up, and gaze to your right hand. See if you can lean the right shoulder back a bit more. Look to your right thumb. And then exhale, gaze down, right hand down. And then shift the weight back until the left hip stacks on top of the left knee. Straighten out the right leg and actively flex the right foot, toes pointing up. See if you can bring that right hip back slightly so you're squaring your hips to the front. And notice how that feels in your glute, your quad as you do so. Sorry, not quad, hamstring. And then notice that the more actively you flex the foot, maybe the more intensely you feel it as well in your calf. Make sure the chest is reaching forward so you're not rounding the back. Lean the chest forward, also looking forward. One more breath here. And then exhale, re-lunge that foot. And wiggle the right foot all the way to the right side of your mat. Coming into your lizard, both hands inside the foot. Actively push the ground away with the hands. And then feel the chest move forward between the arms. Gaze forward. Maybe the hips sinking deeper to the mat. And you can stay here or adding that quad stretch again. Inhale, lifting the left foot up. Circling the right arm up and back. And then catching hold of that left foot with the right hand or using a strap instead. And then if you'd like a deeper stretch on the quad, maybe pulling the heel closer to the bum. Keep that twist, right shoulder leaning back. You might even be able to see your left foot behind you. Just a maybe. So don't feel pressured that you need to see the foot. And gently release that left foot down. Circle the right arm forward. And then coming into our pigeon, wiggle the right foot all the way to the left side of the mat. Lower the right knee down. And again, take your time to explore here. Maybe the shin stays parallel to the front edge of your mat. Or maybe it feels better to wiggle the right foot back a bit. So the right foot is roughly underneath the left hip. And if you'd like, you can also prop the right hip with something there, a book, a block, a pillow, And then slowly walk the hands back. Oh, sorry. First of all, make sure your left leg is straight behind you, toes pointing back. And then walk the hands back next to the hips. Inhale, lift the chest, finding a little back bend here, looking up. Staying for another breath. And then slowly walk the hands forward again. Walk the hands forward even more, maybe coming down to your elbows, maybe staying here, or perhaps exploring coming down further, walking the hands forward, stretching the arms, forehead to the mat, or maybe onto a prop. Staying here for a few more breaths, just noticing how the hips feel, especially the right side, the outer side of the right hip. Make sure the right knee as well is outside the torso as you come down, so it's not here underneath the chest. One more breath here. And then slowly walk the hands back under the shoulders, setting aside any props. Tuck the left toes under, left knee comes up, and step back to down dog again. And if you'd like, once more, pedaling the feet out and making any other movements that feel good. And then finding stillness in your down dog. One more breath. And then on your next inhale, shifting forward, lowering the knees down. So now you're in tabletop. Bring the legs together, feet together, and then sit the hips back to the heels. Coming into your seiza, hands on your thighs. So I'm going to turn and face the camera head on here. And on your next inhale, reach the arms up. Exhale, twist to the right, left hand to the right knee, and right hand, maybe just the fingertips, lightly resting somewhere behind you. Make sure you're drawing the navel in, sitting up tall, maybe gazing to the right or all the way back past the shoulder. One more breath in your twist. Inhale back to center, arms reaching up. Exhale to the left side, right hand to the left knee, left fingertips lightly touching the mat behind you. Draw the navel in, sit up tall, and maybe looking to the left or all the way behind you past the shoulder, whatever's comfortable for the neck here. Two more breaths in your twist. And then slowly back to center, reach the arms up. Exhale, lower the arms down by your sides. And then from here, place your hands down behind you, a few inches behind you. Inhale, lift the chest up, gaze up, finding a gentle back bend here. Feel that nice broadening across the chest. One more breath. And slowly come back to center. Hands onto your thighs, one breath here. And then we're almost done with the asana part. We're going to shift our weight to one side so that we can extend both legs forward. So coming into staff pose, your feet can be hip width apart or maybe feet together, your choice. Sit up tall, hands by the hips. Shoulders down away from the ears. And then into your half hero, lean to the left, bend the right knee, bring the right heel next to the right hip. And for some of you, you may want to explore placing a prop underneath the left hip. Maybe that feels better. And you can also explore, rather than the right heel glued right next to the right hip, you may also opt to add a little bit of distance, just about an inch or so maybe, between the heel and the hip. You can also explore gluing the knees together or separating them slightly. Keep the left foot actively flexed, toes pointing up, hands on the ground on either side if you sit up tall. And then as you exhale, keep the chest leaning forward as you fold down. Walk the hands forward, gaze to your left toes. Staying here for 2 more breaths. And then slowly start to walk the hands back. Shift your weight to the left to straighten out the right leg. And then switch sides. Lean to the right, bend the left knee, left heel by your left hip. And again, you can explore your options here. Maybe a prop underneath the right hip. Maybe the knees together or slightly separate. Maybe the heel and hip glued together or slightly separate as well. Right foot flex, toes pointing up, hands on the ground on either side of you. Inhale, sit up tall, lift the chest. And exhale, keep the chest leaning forward as you walk the hands forward, coming down to a gentle fold. Two more breaths. And slowly start to walk the hands back. Shift your weight to the right to extend the left leg forward. And if you need to shake the legs out, go ahead, shake it out. And that's pretty much it. Make your way into any seated position. We'll end with our restorative pranayama, which is humming B or Bhramari, before coming into our final shavasana. So I'm going to show you how to do Bhramari in case you've never encountered it before. Okay, so first I'm going to talk about options with the hands. The very first option, which is like the bare minimum, you're going to use your thumbs to gently close the ears. And you can just do this. Especially if you're going to feel claustrophobic with the other option, then just do this one, gently closing the ears. That's the most important part. Okay, if you want to explore this mudra or seal, thumbs onto the ears, gently blocking out the ears. And then your pointer fingers will be here at the inside corners of your eyes. And then your middle finger gently plugging the nose close, just very gently, not completely closing out the nostrils. Your ring finger right above the lips, and then your pinky finger underneath the lips. So essentially, it's like symbolic of shutting down all your senses, and you're really just tuning into yourself. And again, this is optional. If you're not comfortable with that, then just plug the ears closed with your thumbs. Okay. And then in terms of the actual pranayama, what's going to happen is you're going to inhale through the nose. And then when you exhale, you're going to make a sound. So you're going to keep the mouth closed and then And then let's do one together. Inhale through the nose. And exhale. So notice that there's that you're creating the sound like bees make, the buzzing noise, and that's where the name of the pranayama comes from. And because you're closing out the ears, you're getting to experience the vibrations more internally. And it's kind of like a nice, gentle massage to your inner organs. Anyway, that's how I feel about it. Okay. So again, option 1, just plug the ears gently with your thumbs. Option 2 is to create that seal. And then we're going to do a few rounds together. And don't worry if your exhale is shorter than mine. So you don't have to wait for me to cue the next round of breath. Just go at your own pace. Inhale and then exhale with a sound. All right. So I'm just going to be guiding a few rounds and I'll be going at my own pace. And you may be doing more rounds than me because of the length of your own breath. And then, so we're just going to do this for a few rounds. And then we'll slowly make our way down to the floor into our savasana from there. Okay, so take your option. And I'll cue about 6 rounds. And then once you're done with your current round, just slowly allow the hands to rest onto your knees, taking a moment to notice how you feel. Just breathing normally in and out through the nose, letting go of your Bhramari breath. And then whenever you're ready, just slowly making your way into your Shavasana. And it can take many different shapes depending on how you prefer it tonight. Maybe extending the legs, arms by the sides, or maybe into constructive rest, knees bent, and knocking together at the center, and the feet wider than hip width, maybe mat width. Or any other shape or variation that you'd like for your Shavasana tonight. I'll leave you here with a few moments of silence, and I'll start up our music again as well. Enjoy your Shavasana. Slowly make your way back to awareness. Wiggle the fingers and the toes. Make small movements with the body, maybe the wrists, the ankles, the legs now, the arms. And then maybe giving yourself a nice big stretch. Legs together, arms overhead. Stretching the entire body top to bottom. And then slowly find your way into a fetal position on one side. Keeping your arm as and then whenever you're ready, slowly making your way up into a comfortable seat. Just ending the practice for a few moments in our seated position, wherever we are. Maybe hands at your chest, or maybe a prayer, or just gently resting onto your chest. Or maybe a hug, whatever feels good. Thanking yourself for being here tonight. Thanking one another for the energy shared. And I am grateful to you all for being here, for allowing me to serve you. And I hope you enjoy the rest of your evening and the rest of your week. I'll see you again next time. The light in me honors the light in each of you.